I've dropped out of my PhD. I've cried so much over this decision to quit my PhD, because it's a stressful decision, not that I'm particularly sad about it. I'll get into all of that in a bit later, but moving on to doing OnlyFans and content creation full-time, it's not just a career choice, it feels kind of like a gamble on the direction of my entire life.
Zara Dar, once hailed as a tech-savvy YouTube whiz breaking down neural networks and machine learning, has traded her PhD ambitions for a ring light and a full-time gig on OnlyFans. Talk about a career pivot. One moment, she's diving into TensorFlow. The next, she's diving into thirst traps. Welcome to 2024, where the hustle is real, but the standards are surreal. Let's rewind for a second. Women in 1960 were all about breaking out of the homemaker mold, demanding careers, and shattering glass ceilings. Fast forward to today, and the script reads more like, forget the glass ceilings, how about a few followers and some cash for toe picks? The irony is almost poetic. Decades of fighting to be seen as more than objects, only for the pendulum to swing back to monetized objectification. But hey, it's empowerment, right? Female nature, they say, craving attention like a moth to a flame. If being the wholesome, respectable missus doesn't reel in the validation, Plan B is apparently to cash in on the simps. Let's face it, purity in 2024 is a marketing tactic, not a lifestyle choice. Some women just market it better than others. And the result? A generation that's mastered the art of monetizing everything they once claimed to despise. Bravo, feminism. You've really come full circle.
Viral attention for sharing her regrets about ditching the idea of marriage and family. Now, her article in Business Insider reads, quote, "I'm 38 and single, and I recently realized I want a child. I'm terrified that I've missed my opportunity." That woman's name is Melissa Persling, and she's revealing to Fox News Digital what she thinks caused her current situation. Listen.
I feel unbelievably betrayed by feminism. I was constantly fed this idea that women can do everything. We don't really need men. Women can have the great career and have the kids that they like and change the tires and do this. I mean, I grew up thinking, and men are great, but I can do all the same things. I do feel in many ways betrayed by that line of thinking. I kind of want to go back to some of those teachers and coaches and say, what the hell did you mean by that? Because women can't do it all. We can't.
Katrina, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, I'm going to go deep here. So I have a lot of opinion on this, and I really think that feminism in some ways has really sabotaged women's happiness. And the reason I believe that is because we are asked to do all these different things, right? But then our nervous system goes whack. Like I know for myself, I'm in work mode and then mother mode and then family mode, right? And so your system just completely goes out of whack, which is why I truly believe, and I found this quote and I thought it was so telling, is that the divine feminine is the rawest, wildest, and most honest mirror a man will ever encounter. The awakened man opens his heart and goes to battle. He will tame his dragons and face his deepest shadows, since he knows that deep within, her heart will guide him home. And I think that there is a beautiful balance between the feminine and the masculine energy.
Modern feminism's impact on dating? It's like handing someone a map, then setting the whole thing on fire. Sure, it gave people the confidence to demand rights and shuffle gender roles, but let's not sugarcoat it. It also turned the dating world into a chaotic free-for-all of confusion, ego battles, and constant second-guessing. Every date now feels like an Olympic event where no one knows the rules, and both sides are terrified of stepping out of bounds. And single mothers? Oh, they're out here in the trenches, juggling PTA meetings with Tinder swipes, trying to find love while dodging a minefield of outdated stereotypes. Society still loves to whisper behind their backs about how family should look, as if it's stuck in a 1950s Sears catalog. These women are rewriting the playbook every single day, proving that romance and motherhood aren't mutually exclusive. But let's not kid ourselves. It's a brutal uphill climb. Respect and understanding? They're fighting tooth and nail for it, all while the world clutches its pearls over their audacity to want it all. It's inspiring, sure, but it's also exhausting to watch a society cling to its relics while these women bulldoze through, flipping the script whether anyone likes it or not.
What would our world look like without sons, brothers, fathers, husbands, and uncles? It has taken raising sons for me to realize how toxic society can be towards men. Oh, the good ones are taken. The future is female, or men need to behave, are constantly tossed around, cloaked in feminism or equality. But why is this okay? Simply being female doesn't make you better than a man. Men do not deserve to bear the brunt of another man's actions any more than a female. Men do not deserve to be judged by their gender, just like women. The future is female doesn't even make any sense. I'm blessed to have had quite a few good ones in my life, role models I know my sons will learn from, but that's not to say I haven't known a few bad apples. I just don't allow those experiences to define half of the human race. If you think along the lines of men need to behave, the future is female, or the good ones are taken, maybe ask yourself why you deserve one of the good ones when you make no room for positive masculinity.
Really have a right to be treated respectfully.
We are unfortunately running out of time, but Peter, I just want to get one final thought from you. Are there words that are used to describe men that offend you?
Not particularly, and if there are some I don't like, I certainly wouldn't want them banned. But it always goes back to that old adage: sticks and stones may break my bones, but there will always be something to offend a feminist.
Peter Lloyd.
No, that's just obnoxious.
Peter
Sorry,
Lloyd,
you have to give me a chance.
The West is unraveling faster than a bargain bin sweater, and at the heart of the chaos is the chasm between men and modern women. As society scribbles over the old rulebook, men are left stranded, scratching their heads while the dating world morphs into something straight out of a dystopian rom-com. Enter the modern woman, armed with a checklist of career goals, independence mantras, and sky-high expectations. Relationships? Sure, but only if they perfectly align with her personal brand. Men, meanwhile, are expected to bend over backward, constantly on their A-game, only to feel like glorified pit stops on her road to self-discovery. It's less about connection, and more about being an accessory to someone else's empowerment story. Unsurprisingly, this pressure cooker has hit its limit. Frustrated and disillusioned, a growing number of men are calling it quits on dating altogether. And who can blame them? Why stick around in a game that feels rigged, where one wrong move can get you canceled, and perfection is the bare minimum? The relentless drumbeat of "I don't need a man," paired with the insatiable demand for excellence, has men asking the obvious. If I'm so unnecessary, why bother? This isn't partnership. It's a one-sided hustle disguised as modern love. So now, men are opting out, walking away from a system that expects everything and offers nothing but criticism in return. Who knew independence could be this lonely? And the fallout? A nosedive in long-term commitments, marriage, and the whole idea of starting families. Men are checking out of the relationship game faster than you can say "modern woman," and who could blame them? When relationships feel like negotiations at best and landmines at worst, opting out starts to look pretty appealing. Some are finding solace in simpler companionships, while others are retreating into solitude entirely, waving the white flag on the whole mess. If this trend keeps up, the West might not just be flirting with decline, it's booking a front-row seat to its own extinction, biologically, culturally, and socially. The foundation of any thriving society, strong families, and meaningful relationships is cracking under the weight of disconnection and hostility. Forget progress. This is regression wrapped in a shiny bow of independence. What's the fix? Open dialogue, actual understanding, and a willingness to meet in the middle. But let's not sugarcoat it. If men and women keep operating in their separate echo chambers, the consequences will echo through generations. What's left without strong families and real partnerships? A society that's hollowed out, clutching its ideals while the foundations crumble beneath its feet.
Men are learning to let go of modern women. End of an era. Why are we telling young women to take your most fertile years when you should be having babies and spend that entire decade of your 20s chasing an education which the average woman goes $40,000 into debt to get, and she makes an average of $40,000 a year, which is a terrible deal, right? So we tell them to go to all this college, get into debt to get your degree, and then do the career thing like you just said. And then all of a sudden at 30, flip a switch and try to get at least 2.1 babies out of them. That's stupid, and it's never going to happen. So why do we give young women that advice? I mean, I think 95% of y'all don't have any business being in a university at all.
Modern women seem to think men should not only bow down to feminist principles, but also jump through hoops like well-trained circus acts. Here's a wake-up call. Men are not props in some feminist fantasy, nor are they blank slates waiting to be filled with someone else's ideology. They've got their own lives, values, and standards. Shocking, I know. While women preach empowerment and independence, they seem to conveniently forget that men aren't here to be reshaped into perfect little allies who nod along to every whim. Expecting men to sideline their own desires and principles in favor of someone else's agenda isn't equality. It's arrogance disguised as progress. Let's not mince words. The idea that women's opinions should always take precedence isn't just laughable. It's a slap in the face to men's autonomy. Men aren't asking for permission to be who they are, and the sooner that's understood, the better for everyone. Respect is a two-way street, not a one-lane highway paved with entitlement. And that's it for today on Sigma Traits. Make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. Support this channel through membership. You can also support through PayPal link in the description. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.